We will never be the same as we were before we had this loss, but are ever so much better for having had something so great to lose. Anne was educated in Yakima Valley Academy, attended college in Walla Walla, Washington, and had her nurse's training in Portland Sanitarium and Hospital. She worked as a registered nurse for many years for Portland Sanitarium in the obstetrics department, Providence Hospital in surgery, and the Dimash State Hospital as the head of a ward. Surgery was her favorite place to work, as she felt, quote, "We were always right on there, doing all we can to save or improve someone's life." She was on the surgical team at Providence Hospital that did some of the first knee and hip replacements, and on the team that did the first open heart surgery at Providence. She traveled to a remote area of Ecuador as a volunteer nurse in the mid-70s and served as an officer for the Oregon Nurses Association. She married Francis Oliver Teeter in 1946, and they were together until 1970. In 1977, she married M.J. Merrill after he was smitten when he experienced her pie-making ability. I know that for a fact. As a mother, she taught her children and grandchildren to be loving, thoughtful, and polite. Every birthday was celebrated with a family dinner, always complete with cake, ice cream, and candles, accompanied by saying happy birthday. Any gift for any occasion required a written thank you to be sent. For as long as Anne could remember, her birthday was always celebrated with wild strawberries, even though sometimes only a small handful could be found around the home ranch. Knowing that, her family nearly always had strawberries for June birthday celebration. She encouraged and supported her children in pursuing their talents. Daughter Cheryl is learning to play the accordion. Mom Ann packing the heavy equipment to and from lessons and up long flights of stairs for appearances, sometimes several times a week. She was a little late mom for her son Rick, working in the snack shack and scoring both during the season. She was also a Girl Scout leader, taking the girls on camping trips and helping to sell boxes of Girl Scout cookies. All of these activities were beautifully managed while working full-time at her nursing job. Family vacations were always a special event. Many summers included a car trip to California to visit her sister in Sacramento, with a trip on to Disneyland when it first opened. On such a trip, Walt Disney was observed cutting the ribbon on his newest attraction. Another memorable family trip was to the Seattle World's Fair and camping in the San Juan Islands, with a few ferry trips, and several summers included camping trips to the sand dunes near Florence, Oregon. Anne thoroughly enjoyed the years that she and Jay lived in Scappoose. I guess it's Scappoose, is it, Jay?
Scappoose.
Scappoose, okay. I'll say it right. At Scappoose, they raised Christmas trees, had a large fruit orchard, berries, a vegetable garden, and beautiful flowers, roses, and shrubs. For several years, they raised sheep, and more than once, Anne had used her nursing skills to help deliver the lambs. She dearly loved having her kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids visit. She helped them pick apples, cherries, strawberries, blackberries, plums, tomatoes, cucumbers, onions, kohlrabi, and any other crops they were growing, as well as sending them home with bouquets of flowers. She delighted in dyeing and hiding Easter eggs out in their large yard so that her grandkids could go see what the Easter Bunny had left for them. Anne was an accomplished seamstress, making clothes for herself, her daughter, and her granddaughters. In 1959, she made a pioneer dress and bonnet for daughter Cheryl to wear for the Oregon Centennial Celebration. The dress was later worn by several other little girls and most recently in 2012, it still remains a family treasure. Ann traveled to many of the 50 states in Canada, but she and Jay especially loved their trips to Alaska in their travel trailer and motorhome. They also enjoyed traveling to Hawaii, Branson, Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, Yosemite, Glacier National Park, Lake Chelan, Ocean Shores, Eagle Crest, Canadian Rockies, and many visits to the family vacation home in Devil's Lake at Lincoln City. They enjoyed both ocean and river cruises in Alaska, Hawaii, and on the Columbia and Snake Rivers. Ann took up painting in 1985 at the age of 63, after seeing a class on OPB television. In 1986, she entered her work at the Scappoose Art Club show, and her Mount Rainier at Sunset picture was awarded first place in the Amateur Advanced Division. So here we have the picture of Mount Rainier at sunset, and it looks like she must have been in the painting business about a year before she did that, and it's a great accomplishment. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
As these others are. Had a great skill. After retirement, Ann continued to meet monthly with her longtime nursing co-workers. She also belonged to a group that donated hundreds of knitted children's hats and sweaters to Providence Hospital. She gave handmade quilts to many of those in her family and to charitable organizations. After a lifetime of good health, Ann spent her last years courageously battling Alzheimer's disease, doing her very best to adjust to losing the ability to do everything she enjoyed. In her last weeks, she was well cared for by Edgewood Arbor and Signature Hospice. Ann was preceded in death by a brother, Wilbur Weir, and a sister, Esther Ruth Weir Devine. She will be dearly missed and fondly remembered by her husband of 36 years, Jay Merrill, brothers John Samuel Weir, Paul David Weir, and Harold Clifford Weir. Her children, a daughter Cheryl Ann Teeter Byer Chandler and husband Stephen, and son Richard Keith Teeter and wife Nancy. Grandchildren, Sharon Gail Byer Patton Winkles and husband John, Christine K. Byer Betchart and husband Ken, and Scott William Byer and wife Jackie. Great-grandchildren, Mallory Christine Patton, Alyssa Ann Betchart, Austin Peter Betchart, and Miranda Rose Byer. Stepson Tim Merrill and wife Kara. Step-grandchildren Brian Merrill and Lauren Merrill. A memory service will be held at 3 p.m. on June 8th at the Beaverton Lodge, which would have been Ann's 91st birthday. Strawberry shortcake will be served just as it was on most of her birthdays. Donations will be made to the Alzheimer's Association or a charity of your choice. So at this time, Nancy will come up and share a few stories with us.